Okay, gentlemen, Kedarkenu Bakodesh. I'd like to start with a beracha. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Shahakol Nihya Bidvaro.
Amen. Amen.
We have a tremendous topic tonight, and it's one of those topics that when one analyzes, you'll see how fantastic the Hashgacha Pratit that Hashem shows us when He runs the world. And this is something that's fascinating. But before I get to the big point tonight, there is an intro that I want to run by you guys. Because I think this point is proper to put out there, and then we'll get to the mainstay. And it goes something like this. Esav, he comes back from the field, V'hu ayef. Yaakov Avinu turns to Esav, and he says, Esav, sell me the Bechorah. Esav turns around, and he says, Lama zeli Bechorah, what do I need it for? He turns around and sells it. For what? For a bowl of adashim. Well, the truth is that really was just to make the kinyan proper. He really sold it to him for money. He really paid for it. So now, you have something so special, Esav. You have the blessings of the entire future of the Jewish people in your hands. And you give it away for pennies? And you give it away for a bowl of lentil soup and a few bucks? What exactly was he thinking, or maybe what wasn't he thinking? So the rabbis tell us something fascinating here. And it has a lot to do with where he spent that day. The Midrash tells us that Esav, that day, committed all three cardinal sins. He murdered, he did zinut, and he did avodah zarah, all in one day. What sent him in such a rage to go out there and be so despicable? What sent him to be so terrible? And the Midrash tells us that day, Abraham Avinu died. That's the reason why Yaakov was cooking the bowl of adashim in the first place. Because that was the ma'achal that they used to eat in Avelut. That was the day that Abraham Avinu passed away. Esav saw the man of God lying on his back, dead. When Esav saw his grandfather, Abraham Avinu, dead, passed away, he went into a frenzy. He couldn't deal with it. Esav, he looks at the holiest man on earth. He looks at the grandfather of the Jewish people, the father of monotheism, the one that introduced Hashem to the entire world. And Esav says, he can die? That's it. One day he's just dead, finished? How could that be? How would God allow somebody like this to die? Esav was so wrecked with the idea that he sees Abraham Avinu dead in front of him that he went out on a frenzy. He went out on a craze. And he just started ripping up averot from the worst possible. And then he comes back to Yaakov, V'hu ayef. In modern Hebrew, ayef means I'm tired. But in ancient Hebrew, there are times that the word ayef doesn't mean tired. It means distraught. As if he gave up. Says Esav, I give up. Lama zeli bechorah. What is this religion anyways? Why am I thinking that I'm going to be the future of a Judaism, of an Abraham, of a Yitzchak? I just saw him dead. I can't deal with that. I don't understand God. And if that's the case, this is not for me. I'm checking out. Lama zeli bechorah. You could have it. You could have it for pennies. You could take it. Because this is not for me. Gentlemen, I want to tell you something. At that moment, it's not just that Esav gave up the birthrights to the Jewish people. At that moment, Esav gave up the essence of what it means to be a Jew. That's the moment that he didn't just check out from the birthright of Judaism. That was the moment that he checked out from Judaism itself. Because a Jew doesn't give up. And because a Jew was given the tools of emunah and bitachon, even in the toughest moments, where we can't make sense of things, and they just don't add up. And I just don't get it. And this doesn't make sense to me. And he's looking at something that to him, it's like, where's God? I don't get this. And then we start getting hit with those famous questions of Sadik v'ratlo, Rashak v'tovlo. What's going on here? Where's the justice? Where's God? What's going on in this world? The Jew is the guy that closes his eyes and says, I don't get it. But I'm going to have to rely on the one above. Because he gets it. And sometimes we got to go back to the basics of Na'aseh v'Nishma. And even though I don't understand, Hashem, I'm relying on you. I'm trusting in you. Emunah, I have faith in you that everything you're doing is for the best, even if I don't understand, even if I don't get it, even if it makes no sense to me. And then bitachon is that I trust you, that you will deliver the best for me always. I can rely on you. Emunah is in theory, in thought, in the mind. I believe with my mind that what you're doing is for the best, even though I might not get it. And emunah is I'm trusting in you that you're going to always continue to do the best for me. And maybe one day you'll explain it to me. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes Hashem shows us what we thought once looked bad, and then later on he showed us that it turned really out to be the best thing in the world. At the time we thought it was the worst, but then later on he showed us how great it was, how the best it really was. Esav couldn't deal with this roller coaster. Esav could not deal with this roller coaster. The minute Esav saw something that just didn't click in his mind of understanding of world and God and events, he took off his yarmulke, boom, I'm out. How can God let that happen? I'm done. That's not a Jew. And therefore that moment was his defining moment. Not just of the birthright of Judaism, but at that moment he actually checked out from Judaism itself. That was Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was the Ish Tam. Ashrei Tmimei Darech. Praiseworthy are the people that's Tamim Tiyeh Im Hashem Elokechem. You know what it means to be Tamim? Tamim at first glance sounds like be simple with God. No, but it's more than that. It's simple faith that's pure. Even in the time that I don't get it, and I don't understand what he's doing, I'm going to stay simple and steady in my faith with God. Hashem loves people that even when God tests him, and God knows that he threw you a curveball, and it totally doesn't make sense. What is he doing? What's he doing to me? Right? We spoke about this last week, remember? Last week we spoke about the guy that does everything right, expecting certain results to come out, and they don't pan out, right? That was last week's class. Says Borei Olam. That's this week's parasha. That was the difference between Yaakov and Esav. Yaakov said, Ish Tam, Tamim Tiyem Hashem Elokech. My emunah, I believe in you, Hashem, that you are doing what's best, even if I don't get it. And I'm relying on you that you're going to bail me out. You're going to save me. You're going to do what's best for me. You're going to show me maybe one day why it was best. This is a big idea. This is not an easy idea to peddle to people. Because, when we come to a speech, we want to hear the make me feel good speech. To make me want to walk out and say the world is perfect and everything's great. And the world is perfect and everything is great. But sometimes we don't see that. And that's exactly what Esav's problem was. He didn't see it. And because of that, he says, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I'm getting off the roller coaster now. I don't enjoy the ride. Little did he know that the whole purpose of the challenges of this world is that Hashem challenges us and our emunah and our bitachon, even at times where it doesn't seem to be the way we would like it to be. Are you still going to hold on? Are you going to still stay on the train? Or are you going to jump ship? Hashem wants to know this question from every one of us every day of our life, every challenge. You with me? Or you're abandoning ship? Yaakov, Esav. It's amazing. They say over an amazing story that I heard years ago from a Rebbe of mine. He says that this goes back to the days before Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zechet Tzadik L'Bracha, before his yeshiva made it to Staten Island, where it is today, but it was in those days, back then and when, in the Lower East Side. And there were two boys that were learning in the yeshiva, and they were learning a heavy piece of Gemara. I believe it was Masechet Kiddushin. And these two boys asks a great question on the Gemara. And the rabbi said, wow, that's a great question. You know whose question you asked? You asked the question of Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, Zechet Tzadik L'Bracha, one of the great Gidolim of the early part of the century. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman was a Talmid Muvhak of the Chafetz Chaim. He was a Talmid Muvhak of Rabbi Chaim Brisker. He was a giant, he was a Gaon, he was a Gadol. And these two boys asked his question. So the rabbi was like, wow, you asked the question of the great rabbi, Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, wow. So he said, Rebbe, so what's the answer? So he says, you want the answer? I want to tell you something. There is one of the prize students, Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, lives right here in this neighborhood in the Lower East Side. He made it after the Holocaust. He made it here to America. He lives in one of these high-rise buildings. I'm going to give you the address. Go and ask him. They said, okay. Who wouldn't want to meet one of the prize students of one of the giant Gidolim of yesteryear? So they took the address. And they went out to the building that the Rebbe told them, up to the 20-something floor. And they go banging on the door. And nobody was home. And they come back 2 days later, banging on the door. Nobody's home. Finally, they decided, you know what? Maybe the guy's out. He's working long hours. We're going to come back Shabbat. And like this, we'll definitely get him in the house. Friday night, right after Shabbat meal, these two guys made up. They're going to meet up, walk over to the building, run up 20 flights of steps. Now they got him. Friday night, they make their way over and up the steps, and they walk up to the door, and they look at each other, and they're nervous. They're about to meet a great rabbi, a genius, a giant. You know, they're like pulling themselves together. And as they get a little closer to the door, they couldn't believe it, but they start hearing music coming from the other side of the door. On Shabbat. Music. So one guy turns to the other guy and says, is that? He says, yeah, that's music. Shabbat. So they bang on the door, and they hear a voice that says, come in. So they open the door and they walk in, and they see a guy sitting there at his table, and he has long hair down to his shoulders with no kippah, and he's smoking a cigar on Shabbat with the radio playing with a Gemara open right in front of him. And he's learning. And he's going down the pages with his fingers, turning page after page after page. And they looked at him. Maybe we got the wrong apartment. What's going to you. But obviously they didn't say that, but they looked at him like this was not what they expected. He says to them in Yiddish, "Come on, come inside." So they come in, and they said, "We might have a mistake, but we were looking for the famous student of the great Gadol, Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, Zecher Tzadik Lebracha. Is that you?" And he says, "Yes." They looked at him. How could that be? And he looked back at them, leaning back, smoking the cigar on Shabbat. And he says to them, "No. So what do you want?" So they said, "Well, we were learning the Gemara and Kiddushin," and they told them the page, and we had a question. And before they could even say the question they had, he already told them the question that they came to ask, because it's a famous question of his Rebbe on that page. And then he told them an amazing answer, brilliant answer. They were like, "Wow. Really? I mean, you're really it? And you're sitting here on Shabbat?" Finally, they couldn't hold it in. They turned to him and said, "What's going on? What? And he leans forward and he tells him, "Not only did I learn by my Rebbe, Rebbe Chanan, but I stood by my Rebbe, Rebbe Chanan, when the Nazis murdered him in front of my eyes. And when I saw my Rebbe, the Gadol Hador, murdered in front of my eyes in those gas chambers, I just couldn't. I couldn't keep Shabbat anymore. I couldn't keep tefillin anymore. I couldn't pray anymore." He says, "But you want to hear something? I still learn because it's so sweet. I can't stop." We went through tough times. And you can't blame any Jew for the stuff that we went through over this galut of almost 2,000 years. But at the same time, Hashem tests people on their level. And those curveballs come in life. We should never know from them. But that was the breaking moment. Even those tough moments, can you still hold on? Unbelievable. So what happened to these two boys? Right? What happened to Yaakov and Esau? Isn't it interesting that Abraham Avinu has two sons? One is going to be the future of the Jewish people. The other one is wicked. Yitzchak, Ishmael. And then right after that, Yitzchak and Rivka has two sons. This time, from the same stomach, literally as twins. And one is wicked and one is... What's going on? There has to be some sort of an understanding, a deeper understanding, to what's happening as the Avot begin the bearing stones of the Jewish people, the foundation. Guys, open your hearts. I want you to hear this. What I'm about to tell you now I think is incredible. But listen to this. When Hashem first created the world, and make no mistake, and I want you to get clarity on this, the world was created for a purpose, that there should be a people to accept the Torah. God is the great Metiv. Hashem is the one who wants to give the best of all good. Hashem is perfect, and everything he does is perfect. And what he gives in the most perfect of ways. And he wanted to give the most perfect of gifts to someone to keep, to follow, and to hold. He wanted to give the perfect Torah to a perfect chosen people. That is why he created the world. Bereshit bara Elokim. Says Rashi, Bishvil HaTorah uBishvil Yisrael nikra Reshit. So that one day there'll be a Jewish people. And that's why we say Yom HaShishi, the sixth day. You know why it's the sixth day? Because it was alluding to later on, the sixth day in the month of Sivan is going to be the day of Matan Torah, when the Jewish people are going to get the Torah later on, Vav and Zayin. And because of that, that's D-Day, the day that the world's creation was justified. The Torah was brought and given to a Jewish people. How was the Torah meant to be accepted, learned, and maintained? Listen to this. This is fascinating what I'm about to tell you now. See if you can follow with me on this puzzle, okay? Hashem creates Adam Arishon, and the Gemara tells us that Hashem gave to Adam an incredible butler. That's what the Gemara in Avodah Zarah calls the Nahash. He calls him man's best aid. He was the chief of staff of Adam Arishon. He was the right hand. He was the butler. The Gemara says that the snake, in the beginning, would take Adam and put him on his back, and he would run with him. He would like a horse. He would carry him everywhere. He would fend for him, feed him, bring him, take him, whatever he needed. The snake was Adam's butler. He was there for everything. But then it came to a point where Adam was put in Gan Eden. What was Adam's job in Gan Eden? Le'ovda u'l'shomra. Says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel. Le'ovda u'l'shomra. I don't get it. Gan Eden was perfect. Gan Eden needed no maintenance, no work. It was already perfect. Everything grew on its own and get most magnificent fruit. It needed no work. So then, why does the Torah say that Gan Eden, the job of Adam was le'ovda u'l'shomra? There was nothing to do. The answer says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, le'ovda le'pulchana dioraita. It means that he was meant to be in Gan Eden to sit and learn Torah. U'l'shomra means l'shomre mitzvot. So he was given a job. Hashem took Adam, put him in Gan Eden, and told him, you're the first Kolel guy. Sit and learn Torah and keep mitzvot. Everything else is taken care of for you. Food, plenty of food. Pick a tree, just not that tree, but pick any other tree. Help, I got a Nahash. The snake will do anything you need. He's the perfect butler. He's standing there in the tuxedo with the bow tie. Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever you say, sir. Whatever you need. You got it all. Adam was going to learn, and the Nahash was going to support. Great system. Until something went wrong. What went wrong, guys? The snake turned out to be a snake. The snake got so jealous. I'm here, working my tail off all day. And this Adam is sitting there, learning Torah without lifting a finger. This guy's going to sit there all day and learn, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to sweat, and I have to provide for him? Let him provide for me. The snake's jealousy began already at that point, even before Chava came to the scene. And because of that, the snake had a very diabolical and devious plan. He wanted to somehow or other bring down the president so that he, the vice president, will be able to take his position. How do you bring down Adam? Through Chava. So he attacked Chava, so to speak, as we've spoken about weeks ago, and through her, he was able to send the forbidden sin back to him. And like this, his plan worked. He got Adam kicked out of Gan Eden. That's what he wanted. But he wanted to get Adam to be Mitah. And then he was going to take Chava for his own wife, the snake, and he was going to sit and learn instead. That was his cheshbon. But Hashem, after obviously what happened, not only did Hashem kick out Adam, no longer was he sitting and learning in Gan Eden, but the snake obviously as well was given the punishments he was given because of his jealousy, because of all the terrible things that he brought to the world. And his arms and his legs were taken from him. Al gechoncha telech. And from that point, the first round of the way learning was supposed to be in the world failed. There was supposed to be someone learning and someone supporting, and that crashed. So we try again in round 2. You know who round 2 was, guys? Who were the sons of Adam? Cain and Hevel. Cain is milashon kinyan. He's going to go out and do kinyanim, work, transactions. Hevel is milashon hevle pihem shel talmidei chachamim shel Torah. So Hevel was supposed to learn Torah, and Cain, his brother, was supposed to support him. So now we want to try the same system, round 2, and this time get it to work. What ended up happening? Cain got jealous of Hevel, the same way that Nachash got jealous of Adam. Cain got jealous of Hevel. This time Cain got jealous because Cain, I'm working hard all day. I came and I brought a korban. You showed me up with your korban, but I'm supporting you. How did you show me up? How did you bite the hand that feeds you? I'm supporting you. He got so angry and so jealous that he ended up murdering his brother. Cain murdered Hevel. So we thought we had it together in round 2, where Hevel was going to learn and Cain was going to support, but then that also failed. What are we going to do with this system? How is the world going to be maintained? For the world to exist, you need people to learn and you need people to support. You need those that hold up the world with learning and those who hold up the learners that the world won't fall. So where's it going to come from? Round 1 failed, round 2 failed. Well, round 3. Abraham Avinu has 2 sons. Yitzchak, Yishmael. Yishmael was Yado Bakol v'Yad Kol Bo. He was that unbelievable socher. He had everything to sell and nothing to sell all at the same time. He was a used car salesman, but he was a real hustler. A real hustler. On the other hand, Yitzchak Avinu was Yitzchak Avinu. Yitzchak was sitting and learning Torah, and the idea was that his half-brother, Ishmael, would support him. And that was going to be the system that was going to be put into play so that the world will exist on the Torah of Yitzchak and the support of Ishmael. What ended up happening? Comes Sarah Imenu and says, are you joking me? Garesh et ha'ama azot ve'et bena. Get this guy out of here. His money is dirty. Take a look at this Ishmael. He's misahek. Says Rashi, he's maleh zinut. He's maleh thievery. He's maleh all the time. That's not the guy that has a zechut to support Torah. You need clean money to support Torah. Dirty money doesn't have the zechut to support Torah. It's funny, I have many stories to tell you. Now's not the time. About a lot of times people wanted to donate certain money to Torah institutions, to Talmidei Chachamim, and at the last minute something didn't work out. Something like weird out of left field just come up the whole thing. And when asked why, the rabbi said, because that guy doesn't have clean money. You have to have a zechut to support Torah. Not everybody can support Torah. You have to be on the level to support Torah. Your money has to be clean. Clean money. And if that's the case, guess what? Round 3, prach. Failure. Again, it didn't work, the plan. My gosh. What's going to be with the world? Who's going to learn? And who is going to support? Finally, round 4. This time, we're really tightening the ropes. two babies in one mother's stomach, Yaakov and Esav. Yaakov turns to Esav and says, hey, Esav, what do you want? You want Olam Hazeh or Olam Haba? Choose. Which one do you want? Says the Midrash. Esav says, tell me, what's Olam Hazeh? What's Olam Haba? Yaakov Avinu says, okay, I'll tell you. Olam Haba. Olam Haba is Shabbat. Olam Haba is Torah. Olam Haba is you're not allowed of this, and you're not allowed of that, and you're not allowed of this, and you're not allowed of that. He tells them all the little tasses. And someone's like, oh, okay. What's Olam Hazeh? Oh, you want to know Olam Hazeh? Olam Hazeh is Nashim. Olam Hazeh is steaks. Olam Hazeh, ho. Olam Hazeh is parties. Olam Hazeh is islands. Midwinter vacations. Olam Hazeh. Esav says, that's me. I'll take Olam Hazeh. You take Olam Haba. And they shook on it. And they actually made a kinyan. They actually agreed in the mother's stomach that he's going to be the Olam Haba guy. He's going to be Olam Hazeh guy. He's going to learn Yaakov, Ishtam, Yoshev Ohalim. He's going to learn Torah. And Esav is going to be Ish Sadeh. He's going to be out there working to support his brother that's learning Torah. And this was finally going to be the plan, round 4, that's going to finally work. One guy's going to be learning and the other guy's going to be supporting. And they are partners in each other. The guy that supports has the chelik of the guy that learns, and the guy that learns has the chelik of the guy that supports, and together they are twins. Tu'umim bebitnech. You have two halves in your stomach that together will equal a whole. One half is going to learn, the other half is going to support. Each one alone cannot survive. But if they have the other half, they're a perfect whole. That's what the rabbi told Rivka. Oh, finally, the world's about to have its justification. This time it's going to work. And because of that, Yaakov Avinu, who Rashi tells us, Yaakov Avinu was created and put in the mother's stomach first. Esav was created and put in the mother's stomach second. Yaakov Avinu was really the older. But now Yaakov Avinu turns to Esav and says, listen, if you agree that you're going to support me, that means that you're taking the job similar to the father in the family. Do you know which son is the one that takes immediately the place of the father's responsibilities? The Bechor. So if you're willing to support Esav, I'm willing to take a step back and I'll let you leave first. Although you were created second, but I'll let you leave first because you're assuming the financial responsibilities of the household, which is the job of the Bechor, the oldest of the family. He takes the father's place. So if you're willing to support, I'll let you out first, even though I was created first. Esav says, okay. Yaakov Avinu takes a step back. Fadalu lets him through. As Esav is leaving the mother's womb, says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, and you can look this up. Says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, Esav had a tattoo of a snake on his thigh, on his hip. You know where that came from? Says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, when Esav was coming out from the mother's womb, you know who showed up? The snake, the Nahash, the Yetzer Hara, the Samach Mem. And he turns to Esav and says, Ata frayer ata. You're a sucker. Yaakov is trying to get you to agree to what Adam was trying to get me to agree to. But he's going to learn all day and you're going to sweat and work? Are you joking me? Don't let him rope you into that. You're not. You weren't born yesterday, right? Born yesterday. You. Come on. Don't let him do that to you. And he convinced Esav to retract from the deal. And just then, Esav turns around as he's leaving the mother's womb and says to Yaakov, deal off. Yaakov says, wait 1 second. If the deal is off, get back here. Then you have no right to leave first. I was created first. I'm the real Bechor. The only reason why I was letting you out was because of the deal. Because you agreed to financially support, which is the role of the Bechor. But if you're not going to play that role, you have no right to be the Bechor. Get back here. And he grabbed the Akev, he grabbed the heel of Esav to pull him back. But at that point, already was halfway out and it was too late. And Esav leaves with the tattoo of the snake on his thigh, showing that the Nachash got to him. Showing that he was supposed to play a role. He was supposed to be the supporter of the Torah of Am Yisrael. That was Esav's role. And he blew it. And he reneged on his way out. And that's what the Pasuk says. The Pasuk says that Esav was Said Befiv. Food, the catch that he went out and hunted was Befiv. Says Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, Befiv. Velo Befi Yaakov. He put the food in his own mouth. He put the food in his father's mouth, but he would not put any food on his brother's table. He would not support Yaakov, who was sitting and learning Torah. He reneged on the deal. Kitzayid befiv. He put food in his own mouth, but not in his brother's mouth. And here we go again. Round 4. Another failure. Unbelievable. And because of this now, Yaakov Avinu has a problem. Yaakov Avinu is supposed to be Yoshev Ohalim. He's supposed to be the guy that's sitting learning Torah. But there's no one supporting him. How is he to survive? And because of that, take a look. The Torah shows us a very interesting scenario. Yaakov is cooking. He's cooking his own food. He's making his own bread, his own meal. Because now he has to play both roles. He has to be the guy that's learning, and he also has to be the guy that somehow or other is feeding himself, surviving somehow. And sure enough, Esav comes walking in and says, hey, what are you cooking? That's the craziest question in the world. You're asking Yaakov what he's cooking? You fool. Esav, you were supposed to be feeding him. And now you're asking him to feed you? Wow, you got it backwards, my friend. If that's the case, says Yaakov, sell me the Bechorah. Because it's one thing if you don't want to support me, but if you want the younger to support the older, you can't be the Bechorah anymore. Now you're asking me to play both roles. If that's the case, let's make it legit. Let's make it official. Once I'm supporting you, I'm playing the role of the Bechor and the learning guy. If that's the case, sell me the Bechorah. I deserve to be Bechor now because I'm not only learning, I'm also supporting. And Esav said, you're right. You're right. Here, take it. Take it for nothing. And that was the moment Yaakov Avinu received the Bechor. Gentlemen, now things become brilliant. Finally, it comes to the moment of truth. The biggest blessings in history are about to be given by Yitzchak Avinu. And comes Yaakov, and his mother says, quickly, go and put on the clothing of Esav. Go in there and get the blessings from your father. Says Yaakov, but what happens, God forbid, if he curses me? She says, no. God forbid. There's no curse over here. You go in with Esav's clothing and you'll see everything works out. It was a brilliant concept. It's Yaakov in Esav's clothing. Do you know what that demonstrates? That means, take a look at that. I'm Yaakov, the learner, but I'm also in Esav's clothing, the guy that's supporting as well. I'm wearing two hats, and therefore, I should get all the blessings. And that's exactly what took place. He walks in with the clothing of Esav, and what does his father say? the greatest line that you'll ever hear. Hakol kol Yaakov v'hayadayim yedei Esav. You know what the word kol? Kol is the voice. Kol Torah. It's the voice of Torah. Hakol kol Yaakov. Look at that. The same guy is the voice of Torah, but the same guy is Yadayim Yedei Esav. Yadayim is Maaseh Yadayim. That's Parnasah. That's support. The same guy is learning, is the same guy who's supporting. Hakol kol Yaakov. The voice of Jacob, the voice of Torah, Yadayim Yedei Esav, and the hands of Esav that was supposed to support. And now it's all in one person. Says Yaakov Avinu, Abba, look at me. I'm wearing two hats. I'm the learner and the supporter. I work and I learn at the same time. Like you guys. I come to learn in the morning. I go to pray. I go out to work. I work hard. I come home. And even in the night that there's snow, I come out to learn again at night. I got the Kol Yaakov and the Yadayim Yedei Esav. I'm supporting and learning at the same time. And if that's the case, says Yitzchak Avinu, if you're doing both jobs, my son, then I'm going to give you both blessings. Listen to the blessing. V'yiten lecha Elohim mital ha-shamayim u'mishmaneh ha'aretz. Now you get the blessings of both worlds. Now that you're the supporter and the learner, now I got to give you the blessings of this world so that you'll be able to support Torah. And I'm going to give you the blessings of the next world so that you'll be able to learn Torah. Wow. And now it makes a lot of sense. Because when Yaakov leaves, Esav comes in. And you know what Esav says? Abba, Dad, you had to save me one blessing. And you know what Yitzchak tells him? I have nothing left to bless you with. Your brother took all the blessings. What? What does that mean? I don't get that. Could you imagine Friday night, we have the minhag, the father goes and blesses the kids. Could you imagine his son comes up, the dad closes his eyes, puts his hand on his head and he says, you should grow up to be a great Talmid Chacham. Then the next son comes. Dad, I also want to be Talmid Chacham. Father says, sorry, I already gave the blessing to your older brother. That's it, chalas, I'm out. What do you mean? Just because you blessed the first guy to be Talmid Chacham, you can't bless the next guy to be... What is Yitzchak saying? Sorry, I gave all the blessings to your brother. I can't give you any more blessings. Are you joking me? Imagine a long line of people going down Rehov Rashbam, trying to get into Reb Chaim Kanievsky's room to get a blessing. The first guy comes in, I need Parnasah. Reb Chaim says, Buha, I give you biracha for Parnasah. The next guy comes in, I need Parnasah. Reb Chaim says, sorry, I already gave that to the first guy. What are you joking me? What does he have to do with me? Yitzchak Avinu turns to Esav and says, I have no blessings left to give you. I gave everything to Yaakov. What does that mean? But now it makes sense. In this world, to justify your existence, you're either one or the other. Either you're learning Torah, or you're supporting Torah, or you're both. But if you have no connection to Torah, you don't exist. The whole point of the world was the forwarding of the learning of Torah. If you're not on that program, then you're not in the program of the world. So the moment Yaakov is doing both jobs, he's learning and supporting, Esav, there's no reason for you to exist anymore. What am I going to bless you with? This world was meant only to support Torah. Next world was meant for the learners of Torah. But if you're neither, then what's left to give you? There's nothing left to bless. It says Yitzchak Avinu to Esav, I have nothing left to give you. Either you're learning or supporting or both. But if you're neither, you don't exist. There's nothing to bless you with. Finally, he cries. And Yitzchak says, okay, I'll give you a blessing. Till now, Esav, you were supposed to be the supporter of Torah, but you blew it. So now, instead of you being the supporter of Torah, al char becha tihyeh, you're going to be the challenger of Torah. You're going to be the one that's going to try to go against and stop the Torah. See, till now you were supposed to be on the support side. And then you were supposed to help the Torah grow. Now, instead of being the helper of the growing of Torah, you're going to be the one who challenges Talmidei Chachamim. You're going to come with your sword, like every generation, like we saw by the Crusades, and we saw by the Nazis, and we saw by the Spanish Inquisition. Every generation they try to wipe out Torah. Every generation the Goyim rise up with their sword, the sword of Esav. And they were supposed to be supporting us. And instead, they're trying to knock us down and wipe us out. And that was exactly the story that the archangel of Esav attacks Yaakov. He attacks the Torah. That became his job. He went from the supporter of Torah to the attacker of Torah. But that still makes him connected to Torah. That's why he's able to exist in the world, because he's the challenger. Believe it or not, he's the challenger. So this plan failed. Adam and the snake failed. Cain and Hevel failed. Yitzchak Yishmael failed. Esav Yaakov failed. Became a one-man show, one-man band. Until and finally, the children of Yaakov Avinu got it together once and for all. Two boys by the name of Issachar and Zevulun. Issachar learns, Zevulun works and supports. They have a perfect partnership. He has part of his Torah. He has part of his work. Together they lean on each other to make a perfect combination. And now the world was justified. Gentlemen, be the ones not just to support Torah, but to learn Torah. Be both, like Yaakov Avinu, who wore two hats. Because you know the famous story with Rabbi Aaron Cutler, Zechet Tzadik L'Bracha, where he came to a guy in Borough Park and he said to him, he's collecting for the Lakewood Yeshiva, and the rich man says, I'll give you the check, but Rabbi, I just want to ask you something, no offense. Isn't it true that when I support Torah, I'm going to get Olam Haba? And Rabbi Aaron said, yes, of course. So if that's the case, the guy had the chutzpah to say to Rabbi Aaron Cutler, if that's the case, then I have a better deal in this world than you do. Because now that I'm going to write the check, I'm going to get Olam Haba, and I'm going to get Olam Hazeh. Because look, I'm eating like a king. I got this world and the next world. All you got is the next world. You know what Rabbi Aaron says? You might get the next world, but this world you'll never have. Until you learn the taste of what Torah is, you'll never appreciate the sweet waters that this world really has to offer. Gentlemen, support the Torah, but more than anything, learn it. Thank you for listening.